Once you downloaded and installed the Power BI, let's learn about how to play around it. I'll open my Power BI. I'll close this little pop-up window, which is the welcome one. So Power BI is all about loading a data from somewhere, playing around it, transforming it to the useful information, and then presenting it to the users. How to get the data is something that is what we are going to learn here. There are multiple connectors available in Power BI, probably hundreds of them, and you can get data from anywhere. Just for understanding, we'll utilize a CSV file, a very basic simple CSV file to load and transform it. To get the data, you can click on any of these options here, which is more frequent one. You can click on this field section and click on this get data, or you can go to this home section and then get data. I'm sorry, I click on that Excel one. So click on this get data and more. All these options will land you up in a same pop-up window where it will be given a list of all the connectors available. Power BI is designed in so simplistic way but yet powerful that all the connectors, whether it is from a file or from a database or from any online services, the connection across all of them is similar. So if you are able to get through one of them, the same applies for others. So I have clicked on that all the connectors option. There you go. I will select text CSV, that's what the file is. Then click on connect. I'll select this sales data which I have downloaded from kaggle.com. Kaggle.com is very useful website if you want to play around with data and download some samples of data. You can simply create account on it, click on these data sets, and there are hundreds and hundreds of data sets available. I'm using this retail store one. Coming back to Power BI, I'll open this. And Power BI is so powerful that it do many operations under the hood without letting you know. So when you select a CSV file, let's say in this example, it detects that it's a comma separated file automatically, and based on first 200 rows it identifies which kind of data also inside of those columns. There are two options at the bottom, load and transform data. Load one is very simple, that you simply want that entire dump of your raw data to Power BI, while the transform data will actually give you the ability to transform it based on your requirement, play around the data, and then once you're done with it, then load the data. So we'll click on that transform data. It will open the Power Query Editor, which is the back end of it that we have learned in the first section. So lots of options, do not get overwhelmed. We will learn all of them one by one. But at a high level, let's understand this top section is the menu bar or the ribbon bar of Power BI Query Editor. The left side of it is a query pane where you will play around multiple sheets. Since we have only one sheet loaded as of now, there's only one query available. The middle section is of course the data, and the right section is the name of the file that you want to give. You can change it. But the most important section I want to cover in this section is these are applied steps. Power BI, while loading the data, it's do some kind of massaging before presenting it to you. So for example, there are 3 steps applied by Power BI by default. And what those steps are, I will quickly expand this address or the formula bar. So this formula bar may be more familiar to those which is coming from the VBA background. But if you are not from VBA background, do not worry. We'll learn this piece of codes. This is actually called the M code, and we'll go through it. For time being, just understand that this M code is a transformation of whatever do you through the available options here to the backend mapping. So whatever you do from this UI section, it get transformed into a coding part to let the system knows that this is what user want. Okay, so let's go through this slide steps one by one. First is source. So before loading the data, Power BI gives it a column name, column 1, column 2, column 3, and so on. And then all the data within the sheets are treated as a rows. But then Power BI realizes that first rows can be converted into headers. So that's what the next step is. It converted the first row as a header row, and the subsequent rows are still the data rows. But there is one more problem. If you see the column name, there are little icons available at the very beginning of each of those columns, which is called the data type of the column. So as of now, everything is treated as a string. This ABC is the representation of the string formation. So then Power BI also identifies that this is a string for sure. Everything can be treated as a string, but this is more specifically a date. This is a string, 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 string. This could be converted into integer. So that's what the next step is. It has changed the column type to date. You see, these are remain as a string, and this one converted to a integer. While if I scroll to the right, this particular column converted as a number. Number means this whole number, you can say, where the integers decimals are also available. Okay. Very interestingly, if you want to change anything in this one, it will be amended here as I apply the steps. For example, if you want to convert this price to, let's say, some kind of currency values, something like this one. So it will ask, because I have changed the price column, if you see this M code at the top, the price column type is changed to number. So do you want to override this one, or you want to create a new step where it will be changed from a string to number, and then from number to fixed decimal number? So I want that, though it's a not recommended one, but just for understanding, I'm going to create a new step. And this says change type 1. Now it is changed to fixed decimal number. Because this do not make much of the sense, change type 1, so I'll give it a more familiar name. I will change it to, let's say, price column type 2 currency. Okay, there are tons of operations you can perform. Let's just for understanding, let's see if you want to remove for a particular column, let's say this product ID, which may not be something that you want in your final output. So you can click on remove columns and remove. The moment you remove it, there is a one more applied step amended here. All these steps will be executed one after another. If you want to go to a previous state, you can simply remove these steps, and then this product ID is available again. Feed view, I simply selected a very simple file, we transformed it, we understand how Power BI works based on apply the steps. And then once you're done playing around with the data, then you can simply click on close and apply, close and apply, and it will load back your data to Power BI. And once the data is loaded, you will go through the front end of it. So earlier when we were playing around the data, which is called the Power Query Editor, that is the back end of Power BI, while after loading the data, we are in the front end of Power BI. And the front end, as we have discussed in the very first section of this series, that front end contains three views. One is called the data view, the report view, and the model view. So the data is still loading. Let's wait for it. Okay, once the data is loaded, there are three views which is part of front end are available now. Report view, because we have not created any report till now, the report view is blank. The data view will give you the exact data what you were supposed to see after the transformation. This is not the raw data. This is the data we get after applying all those steps in Power Query Editor. And the last one is the model view, which is a database table representation of your data. So if you're coming from the SQL background, you know in your database you have tables and the columns underneath. The similar way, your sheet or the data will be considered as a table. That's a sales data in this case, and all the columns will be treated as a column of that table. So this model view is very powerful when you're working with multiple sheets and you have a relationship between them. So that we will learn again. So that is all from this section. We have imported a CSV file. We played some very basic stuffs but very profound. And then we have seen how this report view, data view or model view works. So that's all for this section. Thank you.